What's good, fight fans? You already know it's your boy Bando back at it with a fresh episode of Combat and Kick It. And we are coming through just to discuss, talk, and review a few different things that have been going on in the UFC realm. Obviously, we've had two fights, two back-to-back cards that I haven't actually done anything or talked about at all. It's been a few weeks since I've actually dropped anything. So we got to talk about those. We got to talk about some rumors with some different fights that did get made, possibilities of fights, whole bunch of stuff. So let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Let's smoke. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. You already know it's your host, Bando, and we are talking about a few different things, right? Sean Strickland, obviously, getting a beautiful win that he really needed over Fluffy Hernandez. Not just getting the win, but the way that he got the win. Really needed to get a finish like that. Needed to make a statement. Needed to go out there to show people that he still, got a little bit behind him. Got the energy. Got all of it, right? He had to show. But then going out calling out Hamzat, it's a stretch. You got a lot of people are saying, oh, if you know game, if you know ball, Sean Strickland could beat Hamzat. Listen, anybody could beat anybody in this game, right? There's no doubt in my mind that anybody could beat anybody in this game. Stylistically, that is a terrible matchup for Sean Strickland. And I know Sean Strickland is a wrestler to start, right? That's what brought him to the game in the first place. But it's not the same level as Hamzat. Hamzat's pace is relentless, and Dreykus kept getting Sean down. Dreykus kept putting an unrelentless pace on Sean. That it's not bad for Sean, but when Sean's on his back foot, he doesn't get to work the same volume that he normally can throw. Sometimes he doesn't throw much volume. Sometimes he's just kind of tapping through. Sometimes he throws a lot of volume. But I don't think it's a great matchup. But it was a great win, and Sean Strickland needed to win in that fashion. Needed to make a statement, so good win for him. And then you move on to this past weekend. You had Kavanaugh versus Moreno. Did not expect that. Brandon Moreno's known to have a good chin. He was in his backyard. You would have thought that maybe it's not a 100% lock, but that Brandon Moreno should have had it against a 10-1 prospect. But Kavanaugh is looking like he's much more than a prospect. The way he was swinging them punches, the combinations he was throwing, the accuracy, the intensity, he knows what's up. He came in and performed in the biggest night of his life on short notice, kind of short notice. I don't think it's really short notice. I think it was just a pullout and a different opponent, maybe slightly short notice. But to get a win like that over Brandon Moreno in his backyard, massive. So huge win for that kid. Fantastic performance. Brandon Moreno has always been a top contender in the 125-pound division. He's always caused issues for other guys in the 125-pound division. He's always made trouble for guys in the 125-pound division. But now, who knows? Maybe that guard is getting passed, and you got the next wave of people coming in. Obviously, you got Josh Van as the current champion. It's supposedly he's fighting Tatsuya Taira, which I saw. I don't know how 100% sure that is, but I did see that he's fighting Tatsuya Taira. So the 125-pound division is moving, and it's definitely moving on past Pantoja. And that was such a shit way to lose. Like, it shouldn't even count as, like, a true loss. Joshua Van talking about how he's the champion and everything like that. And I'm a Josh Van fan. Like, I was backing him thinking he was the dark horse of the division, and I was right. But at the same time, that's no way to go parading as a champion. You already saw the way Aljo got consistently dogged parading as a champion after that first Piotr Jan fight. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where Josh Van is talented, could potentially be a champion, could have potentially beat Pantoja on that night, but at the same time, the situation, the circumstance, it doesn't give you that full range of being like, oh, I'm champ. I'm true champion. Not all of us are looking at it that way. And if Brandon Moreno would have got that win this weekend too, it would have been good for him that Josh Van is the champion. Now you got a guy who you haven't fought that's at the top of the division, a young guy, an explosive fighter, an exciting fighter. And, it could have restarted Brandon Moreno's title runs and title chances and opportunity and everything like that. It could have got it going again. It could have got the gears moving, but he couldn't get it done, and it happens. It happens, man. Sometimes somebody comes out, they just a little bit more hungry, or they had a little bit better training, or that night they're just better, and there's nothing you can do about it. But go back to the drawing boards, work harder, and come back. Brandon Moreno is a former champion. He's got the belt. Sometimes when guys reach that success, and they lose it, it's very hard to reach back to that success. Becoming a two-time champion is a huge feat. People don't talk about that much, especially in UFC. If you are a two-time champion in the UFC, three-time is unbelievable. But if you're a two-time champion in the UFC, that is actually a huge feat. People don't talk about that enough. Think about how hard it is, right? Especially in the UFC, where you could lose a fight. You could be at the top of the division. You could lose a fight, and then all of a sudden you're fighting a fucking 12th ranked guy while you've been in the top 3. Now you're fighting a 12th ranked on a main card or a main event of a fight night or something like that, right? You're not even getting any realm of what you got before. Now you got to almost build back up, right? Because sometimes that win, if say you're ranked at 3 and you fight 12, right? Sometimes that win doesn't shoot you a title shot. Sometimes it might, but sometimes it doesn't. It's hard to get a title shot back just because you're a former champion. You bounce down to fight 12. You should honestly, former champions should say no to fights like that. They should say no to fights like that. They should stick with the 1 through 5, right? If you can't get a fight with somebody in the 1 through 5, then you just gotta sit and wait, because it's really tough to be able to go down, fight a guy that's 13th ranked, and you're not going to get, that's not going to give you enough to get a title shot unless you go out there and absolutely smoke them and show that there's a levels of difference between a 2 rank and a 13 rank. You know what I mean? You have to show a difference. But to be a 2-time champion, to come back, to climb the ladder again, to get the belt back, amazing feat. Amazing feat. Volkanovski really didn't have to climb the ladder, right? He didn't get knocked down and had to climb all the way back up and go through the rankings or anything like that. But 2 back-to-back really tough losses, right? For some fighters, those 2 losses like that are career-defining moments that will literally be the X on their career. That will be the downfall, and you'll never see them recover. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even think of how many times I have seen a guy, right, get himself on a 10-fight, 11-fight, 12-fight win streak, right? Dog and stuff. Maybe not win streak, but maybe just undefeated, whatever the case may be, right? 12-1, 15-1, whatever it might be, right? You see a guy get up there, lose, and he can never get back to that person that he was, right? You've seen it. You've seen it. Look at Dominic Reyes, right? Dominic Reyes took John Jones 5 rounds, arguably beat John Jones in those 5 rounds. And that is still something that people argue to this day. And that was 2020, right? So that was 6 years ago. People are still arguing that Dominic Reyes won that fight. But in the 6 years since that, we have not seen Dominic Reyes the same, right? He had the 2 bad knockout downfalls, right? The start of it, the Yuri Petroska, the Jan Blachowicz, both of those ones really put an X on the career, and it took him a minute to bounce back. And I was rooting for him. I was hoping he would get the bounce back all the way to a title shot, but ran into Carlos Ulberg. Nothing you can do. But Dominic Reyes did kind of get a build-up, right? Obviously wasn't a champion, wasn't going to be a 2-time champion, but it's just showing the example of how many times a guy can be at the top, fall, and never get back up. Even trying to get back up. That's the number one thing. You got to always try to get back up. You always got to continue to push. You got to try to get better, everything like that. But sometimes even when you're climbing that ladder, you getting sent right back down. You keep climbing, sent right back down. Keep climbing, sent right back down. Curtis Blades is a good example of that. Very many times where he has gotten close to getting a title shot and getting snatched away because he couldn't get the last fight. You know what I'm saying? That one fight that mattered the most, he couldn't get it done. You look at Georges St. Pierre, 2-time champion, right? Lost to Matt Serra in a real shit way, right? Nobody expected GSP to lose to Matt Serra, but then he came back and put a statement win on that one, a statement finish, and it was a great way to become a 2-time champion, right? Sometimes you become a 2-time champion off of a rematch. Sometimes you become a 2-time champion off of rebuilding your entire career. But either way, it's a big thing to talk about. But I got a little off topic there, but that's kind of the whole thing with Brandon Moreno on his climb back up. It's always difficult. Like, you know me, I'm a Charles Oliveira fan. I'm a Du Bronx fan. I want to see him get back to the title, but every time he gets close, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. It is not easy to become a two-time champion in the UFC. Since I mentioned Carlos Ulberg, I got to talk about Alex Pereira vacating his belt. Sounds like he's going up to heavyweight. We got Yuri Petroska versus Carlos Ulberg for, I don't know if it's the vacant title or vacant interim title, whatever the case may be. They're fighting for a belt, and I like the fight. I like the matchup. That's gonna be a fun matchup. It's gonna be fireworks. I can see Carlos Ulberg landing something nasty with the way that Yuri is, especially in those early rounds as he's being unorthodox, kind of measuring things out. I can see Ulberg staying down the middle, catching him with a 1-2. Ulberg's got pop in his hands, and he's very clean with his strikes. He's accurate with his strikes. But once Yuri starts to put the thing, put everything put everything together, he becomes a serious problem. He really does. He puts everything together, and now you can't read him. Now you're confused as shit. You don't understand him. He's landing shots from different angles, and you were hitting him with your best shots, and it almost seemed like you were about to finish him, but you couldn't finish him, so now he's about to finish you, and that's exactly what happens in the Yuri Petroska fight. So that could definitely happen, but I'm excited for that matchup. That's a really good matchup. But with Alex going up to heavyweight, you got to assume he's fighting for a heavyweight title. It's going to be a main event of something. Maybe the White House card, which I want to talk about that in a second too, the whole White House card thing. But he must be going up to whatever. I was going to say 205, but heavyweights, whatever. You know what I mean? 220 and up 225, whatever the case may be. I don't know what the actual weight of heavyweight really is now. Shit. Is it 235? I don't even know what the actual weight of heavyweight is. I just know they all big. 250, 240, 230. These dudes are massive, right? But if he's going up, he's got to be fighting, Tom Aspinall? The rumors haven't sparked that one. Someone said Cyril Gane. Get that out of my face. I'm not watching Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for an interim heavyweight title. And if I see another interim heavyweight title, bro, stop. Stop. I don't want that shit no more. I don't want no more interims. But it's gotta be Alex and John Jones. Obviously, John's retired, and you never fucking know with John Jones. He's back and forth. You never actually know what's up with John Jones. But he says he wants to fight on the White House card. Alex vacated the belt. He's moving up to heavyweight. It all makes sense. That could be the White House main event. I think we're supposed to get the announcement of the actual card this week, so we'll see. But with everything going on, I'm not a political person. I don't choose sides. I don't do nothing. It's all just chaos. You know what I'm saying? It's all of it's just chaos, right? But with all the stuff that's been going on, with the list of everything, I'm shocked that they're actually going to try to pull this card off. And then what just happened, a day ago, yesterday, a couple of days ago, with the dropping some stuff in different places. You guys know what I mean? I don't know what I can actually say on YouTube, the words that you can say. But the attack, I guess. Feel like that puts a lot of people in harm's way if you put them on the White House. Put them on the front lawn of the White House. Kind of just open. I don't know. It just seems different. It just seems different. Doesn't seem like the smartest. I think it'll be unique. I think it'll be cool. It'll be like a spectacle. But to me, honestly, there is something about seeing a massive crowd of people at an event, right? Seeing the background behind the cage, just a ton of people. I don't want to see the White House behind it. I don't care to see the White House behind the UFC cage, because never once was I watching the UFC and equating the UFC and guys beating the crap out of each other with the White House. It's just it never balanced out for me. It's almost like the Sphere. Like, I thought the Sphere was cool, right? But I don't want to see all the stuff in the background, right? I didn't care for it. I like seeing the fans. I like seeing a massive array of fans. I personally feel like if you want to pull off a massive card, something unique, something different, right? You had opportunities when you were in Abu Dhabi doing Fight Island, right? You had an opportunity to actually do Fight Island, right? You had no fans. You had an opportunity to actually put an octagon on the beach and fight, like you called it, Fight Island. You teased us. You teased us back in the day with an octagon on the beach. I just want everybody to remember that. They teased us with an octagon on the beach. And we never got an octagon on the beach. No fight on the beach. You had an opportunity right there to do something very dope, very cool spectacle. But right now, I feel like whatever happened, remember boxing used to do the Vegas cards outside? They used to do the Vegas boxing matches outside behind the hotels and stuff like that. Where is that? How come the UFC hasn't done that? I want to say, I mean, if they did, it was back in like maybe 2005, mid 2000s. They might have done something like that. But bring it back. Bring it back. Do something cool. Why don't you put that outside of the sphere? Right? You got all the lights making everything bright. It would probably look extremely dope too. Right? But then you get the whole fan. You still get the whole fan. I don't know how the White House is going to look. What's the setup going to be? Like, how many people are allowed to be there? Right? You really want a bunch of random people on the White House lawn? Like, it doesn't really make sense. I think it's cool, right? Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. I think it's unique. But for them trying to make this the biggest card in history and everything like that, I don't know. I think, one, it's going to ruin the rest of the year for us. This isn't like UFC 300, right? Not only did we have UFC 300, we had UFC 300 and UFC The Sphere in the same year, didn't we? I'm pretty sure it was the exact same year. Might not have been. Might have been a year difference. But, you know, those are cool spectacles, right? You had some massive matchups on those, and you were able to make them, right? Lately, you haven't been making good matchups. We haven't been having good cards. Let's be real. Let's be real. These cards have been cheeks. Performance-wise, right, they've been better. Right? They've been better than the matchmaking. Right? Like, no one wants to see King Green versus Daniel Zellhuber, but at the same time, it's probably the only matchup that makes sense for both of them. How the hell did Daniel Zellhuber get beat by Michael Johnson and King Green? This man was supposed to be the future, not the future of 155, but a top talent in 155, the future of 155, one of the top talents, and that's looking like that's not a thing. And Herb Dean, were you going to stop the fight or were you waiting for death? But overall, like, you can make some dope matchups. You're going to get some dope matchups on this card. I don't know what it's going to be like, right? I'm just more excited to hear what matchups we're getting. Because if you're going to throw some crazy fights to us, almost like dream fights that you only make in the video games, all right, cool, but talking about Conor McGregor coming back for that card, like, so you're gonna try to stack that card with John Jones and Conor McGregor? Who's gonna be the main event? John Jones versus Alex Pereira, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler? I don't know. That one's got me. Like, kind of, I'm not sure about it. Let me just see what these matchups are. Hopefully the layout and everything's cool, but I don't know. Who knows if it even 100% goes through? It's a stretch with everything going on. Putting the fight on the White House lawn, it seems to be a stretch. But that's it for this episode. I'm going to be in this room smoking joints for a little while because we got a couple more episodes to film because we got Oliveira versus Max Holloway this weekend. That card is a nice card. Nice card, and obviously, you know your boy loved the main event, but at the same time, I hate this main event. How am I supposed to root for somebody? DuBronk's my favorite fighter, but how do you not root for Max Holloway at the same time? I hope neither of them win, and I hope neither of them lose. There you go. We need a nice little draw. We haven't had a draw in a while. I'll throw $1 down on a draw and win 100,000. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's all do it. Put $1 down on a draw. We're going to win 100,000. Let's go. But either way, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, obviously. You know, if you haven't already and you're watching these videos and you haven't subscribed, why? It's a button. Just click it. So hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episodes are out. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out.